Welcome to a 10-1-10 review. My name is Nessa and today I'll be talking about Cattails Wildwood story and how I felt after playing the game for 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 hours, and 1 year in-game. As a person who does not have a lot of time to play games, I think that first impressions are important and the first 10 minutes to an hour of a game should give you a basic rundown of what it has to offer. That being said, I also know that farming and life sim games, RPGs, and overall cozy games might need some time to shine, which is why I think it's important to review the game at 10 hours and again after a year in-game. How I felt at the 1 hour mark might change at 10 hours, and that could drastically change again after I've gone through an entire year in-game. I won't be rating Cattails Wildwood story on a scale, but I'll definitely talk about the things that I like and the things I wish it did differently so you can make an informed choice on whether this game is for you. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Cattails Wildwood Story is a cozy life simulation game released in October of 2023, where you play as a leader of a colony of cats starting their new life in the Wildwood. There is another Cattails game that was released earlier in 2017, but you do not need to have played that game to start this one. Wildwood Story is not a direct sequel. In this game, you can hunt prey, harvest herbs, collect magical treasures, manage your colony, send out squads to gather resources, and defend your home. Fall in love with one of 20 plus eligible cats to start a family, and explore the Wildwood to learn more about your new home. Cattails Wildwood Story retails for $19.99 USD and is available for the PC and Nintendo Switch. I played the game on my Nintendo Switch too, so any mentions of performance or glitches is solely for my experience on the Switch version. Another caveat is that I bought the game when it was 90% off at $199 USD, so my views of the game might be subconsciously skewed by the steep discount. Of course, I recognize this and will be mindful to weigh it against the full price tag. In Cattails Wildwood Story, you play as a cat who steps up to lead a colony of cats into the Wildwood to build a new home after calamity struck and destroyed both the catlands where you lived and the temple where the forest guardian resided. During the trip to find a new colony, you encounter some cats from the void who attack you without hesitation. The forest guardian decides that this is the perfect place to build a new colony, so you all decide to stay even though the threat of voidling cat attacks are pretty high. After getting settled into the new colony, you and some other cats receive an ominous warning in your dreams to leave the Wildwood since it's not your home. Now it's up to you to find the secrets of the Wildwood, recruit new cats, and make it your home. As of this review, I did complete the main story. Cattails Wildwood Story actually does a lot in the first 10 minutes. You start with character customization, where you can choose from a variety of different cat coats, accessories, eye colors, and body shapes. You can choose a preset coat or make your own, and I think I spent about 3 minutes going through the preset coats to see which one I like the best. After choosing what your cat will look and sound like, the game gives you time to adjust the accessibility features, which include changing difficulty, how fast or slow you want the passage of time to be, how you want to handle hunting and enemy encounters, alternative font if you don't like the hand-drawn style, the ability to turn off light flashes, and even an option to auto-run. Overall, these are really great accessibility settings, and I appreciate that the game prompts you to look at it before you start. Usually, games do have accessibility features in their option menus, but you have to go looking for these yourself in order to adjust them. So I love that this one is part of the character creation. Once you have a character, you are given the story of why your colony is in the Wildwood. The tutorial comes in the form of words on screen with arrows pointing to your objectives. It's pretty easy to follow the tutorial, and there is a legend at the bottom right to remind you of the controls whenever you are close to a target. Through the tutorial, you learn how to forage for resources, gift items to develop your relationships, and hunt prey to satisfy your hunger meter. The resource gathering is pretty standard in this game. You just have to go up to an item on the ground and pick it up. I like the different cat NPCs so far. They have 2D portraits that change depending on what they're saying, and they're distinct enough where it's easy to remember what their names are. It also helps that they have name tags over their models, so I know who's who at a glance as well. Hunting prey requires you to sneak up as close as you can and then complete a quick time event to pounce on your target. The quick time event target area will be bigger if you are closer to the prey and smaller if you are farther away. However, if you get too close, then the prey will run away, so you have to balance getting close enough so you can hit the target area, but also not scare away your dinner. My 10 minutes ended during a fight for my life against voidling cats. The combat system in the tutorial so far is pretty basic. You have a swipe attack and also a charge up attack if you hold down the attack button longer. The charge up attack does area damage, so you can hit more than one cat at a time. While you're charging, your cat cannot change directions, so you have to make sure that you're positioned correctly to unleash your attack. I'm not really a big fan of this, and the combat seems pretty clunky so far. I'm wondering if it will evolve a little bit more and feel more fluid as I play, but for now, it's definitely not my favorite part of the game. I think that this is a great 10-minute introduction to the game. Already, I understood my purpose as the leader, the backstory of the colony, I got to customize my character the way that I wanted, and I learned how the game worked through the tutorial. The game is pretty intriguing, and I wondered whether we would make it to the promised colony, especially since the voidling cats were now something new and dangerous added to the mix. Pretty soon after the 10 minutes, it's time to set up the colony, so I guess all my questions got answered right away. Despite the dangers, your forest guardian has her reasons for why settling in an area infested with voidling cats is a good idea, so you all go along with it. I love this because on one hand, personally, I don't know if I could trust a spirit telling me that I should make a home where there are cats coming out of the void to attack me, and on the other hand, she's a spirit guardian, all mythical and powerful, so it feels like if I was a cat, I would totally trust her. I love that you have not one, not two, but 6 options on where you want to settle. Then the game prompts you to choose your colony options that include giving it a name, assigning a title to it, choosing an emblem to represent your colony, and what you want to be called as the leader. This game also introduced the build menu where I can place and move buildings in the colony wherever I please, as well as change the ground type if I decided that I didn't like what I picked in the beginning. This level of choice for the colony customization in the beginning was really surprising to me. I wasn't expecting the game to have all of these things. The main goal of Cattails Wildwood story is to make a home for yourself and your colony in the Wildwood. Since I was so early in the game, this meant I spent a lot of time hunting animals and fish in order to get some mews, which are the currency used in this game. Mews can be exchanged in the store for bag upgrades, decorations, and food, in the garden shop for seeds and garden upgrades, and in your own den for renovations. Mews can also be used at the clinic. I also foraged a lot in the fields since there are a variety of different plants growing that you can collect to heal yourself, stave off hunger, cancel out status effects, and even make you less visible to prey. The main story will introduce dark temples, which give off really bad vibes in the area. Your task is to purify them by defeating their boss inside. Before you can do that though, you have to gather more allies for your colony by offering items that they want in the temple to recruit them. The game does a really good job of encouraging you to travel and gather different types of resources to fulfill those requests so that those cats can move into your colony. Recruiting some cats will unlock different systems such as gardening, squad assignments, and the museum collection. Once you've recruited enough allies, then the Dark Temple will unlock and allow you to enter. Since I'm still an hour into the game, I have not unlocked any Dark Temples at this point. My main focus was just gathering the resources needed to recruit the cats so that I can unlock the first one. What I did unlock was the mining feature in this game. Mining functions like other farming simulation games. You break rocks in order to find the stairs on the level, which allows you to go down another level. At various parts, there will be a checkpoint so you can return to that level later on and not have to repeat your entire progress again. In Cattails Wildwood story, the checkpoints are every 25 levels, which is quite a long way to go without a checkpoint in my opinion. You have to stock up on food and health restoring items in order to make the trek, since there will be hostile creatures in the cavern, and breaking rocks will also make you hungry. I didn't focus too much on my mines during the 1 hour since I realized what a feat getting to the 25th level was going to be once I made it to the 6th floor. There was already a lot to do in the first hour of this game. I made it to the 5th of spring, which doesn't seem very far, but the seasons in Cattails Wildwood Story are pretty short. They only have 10 days instead of the usual 28 or 30 in other games, so I was actually already halfway through the season after only 1 hour. This is totally different than my experience with most of my 10-1-10-1 games, since although I am likely to be in Spring 5 in those games as well, I also have 25 more days to go. I was definitely hooked on trying to find the items needed to recruit more cats. I love being able to complete a request and then being able to place the new recruit's home anywhere in the colony. Their personalities and houses are really different, so this system really motivated me to continue playing. I was having a fun time at 1 hour, and I was definitely jumping into 10 hours without hesitation. I made it to Autumn 8 by the time that 10 hours rolled around. The gameplay loop at 10 hours is pretty solid. You can hunt and forage in the surrounding areas to make some mews, to buy items and decorations. You can go deeper into the mines and get more mole cash in order to buy items from the moles. You can garden to raise herbs, collect curios for the museums. The list goes on. There are cats to recruit and dark temples to purify. I like that the temples themselves are varied. In the first one, there was a combination of combat and puzzles, and in the second one, the temple focused more on puzzles. The bosses have different mechanics as well, and I like that it's not incredibly hard to defeat them. You just need to have proficiency at dodging or stock up on a lot of healing items. Overall, I was not bored during the 10 hours, and I always found something to do every day. I also was trying to go deeper into the mines during this time. In this game, you're tasked by the moles to help them dig ores and gems, which you can sell back to them for mole cash, a different type of currency which you can use to buy items from the moles specifically. In Cattails Wildwood Story, your claws are sharp enough to break rocks, so you don't have to worry about getting a pickaxe or upgrading it. There are enemies in the mines with different attack patterns to defeat or avoid, and your main goal is to find the ladder of the floor to descend deeper. The ladders could be in different states when you find them, such as broken and needing to be fixed, or locked and needing you to find a key somewhere on the stage. Your descension progress is saved every 25 levels, so as I mentioned, you definitely don't want to come unprepared. As I was purifying dark temples and digging deeper into the mines, the clunky combat was at the forefront of my mind, since you have to fight the bosses in the dark temples in order to progress the story further. The basic scratch attack, which can break boulders in one swipe, is pretty weak against enemies, and I mainly relied on my charged attacks since it will also push the enemy back a little bit, allowing me time to charge up again. I was not understanding why I wasn't getting stronger at this point in time, and I wondered whether I was missing something. Since I was able to defeat the bosses though, I figured that normal difficulty was just a bit challenging in that regard, and I left it for now. During my 10 hours in most games, it's common to start building more of a relationship with the NPCs since I'm no longer thinking about my survival and making money as much. In Cattails Wildwood Story, there's a lot of different types of cats that you can eventually unlock and have moved to your colony. It's not too hard to befriend them as long as you know what they like. When you increase their hearts, you have a chance to see an event to get to know their personality a little bit more. Once you're at 3 hearts, you have the option to buddy up with them and take them with you on your adventures. Each cat has different abilities that can help you in the field, and they can also level up the more you do things with them while they're buddied with you. This is a really great motivator for me to befriend different cats since they have different abilities to help me out. There's also romance in this game, although I have not been able to date or marry anyone yet since I only started giving gifts to my fellow colony cats recently. There are also festivals that happen during the last day of the season. During this time, you can play minigames in order to win festival tokens, which can be exchanged for items. Each minigame can only be completed 3 times, so there is a limit, and you might not actually be able to buy what you want, depending on how well you perform in the games. I do like the little reprieve from the daily grind through the festivals. Since the seasons are relatively short anyways, it does feel like I'm getting a festival break pretty often. I also appreciate that there was effort put into the minigames since they are different for each season. My favorite part of the 10 hours was decorating my deck den, as the decorating system in Cattails Wildwood Story is a big highlight of the game. Once you buy decorations in the store to unlock it, you can put as many of that item as you want in your house without worries about cost or materials. This really allows you to be more creative with how you want to decorate your space, and you have the ability to change it out anytime you want. I also really love that you can add more tiles to your home and shape it. I really wish that more games would take this approach to decorating, because I don't have to stop my decorating in order to get or craft an item that I need. I could just decorate to my heart's content. As stated, I was having a really good time overall during my 10 hours. There's always something to do, and I appreciate that the game gave me lots of options on how I wanted to spend my time. I couldn't believe that I was already at Autumn 8, and I was wondering how winter would change this gameplay loop, if at all. So of course, I had to continue playing. I got back to spring after 13 hours of playing the game. This was a shorter game for sure, but I think that my experience was pretty good throughout. My main gripe with the game was the combat system, and it turns out that I was not even using the whole range of skills that were available to me since the beginning, since I never used my scratching post and even removed it from my den sometime during my 10 hours. Apparently, using the scratching post will take you to a skills menu where you can invest XP points to unlock them and level them up for more powerful effects and shorter cooldown between uses. I don't think the game explicitly told me about my scratching post, and if it did, I totally missed that lesson. After finding the menu, I had about 3,000 XP saved up and was able to unlock a variety of different skills that would have totally helped me throughout my time playing. The game did become easier after I finally started using skills, although the cooldowns are lengthy depending on what skills you use, so you do still get a little bit of a challenge. Of course, I had the ability to change the difficulty level to a lower one at any time in the settings, but I really wanted to get the full experience on normal difficulty. I am so lucky that I found the skills before facing off with the final boss in the game and finishing the main story. There's a big diverging choice that you have to make at the end of the story, but afterwards you're pretty much free to do whatever you want and live your best cat life. There are still roaming voidling cats in the different areas of the map unless you turn this off in the settings, so you can still gain battle rewards such as money or items from those encounters. Overall, the story was simple to follow and understand. It wasn't too tedious to complete, and I probably would have finished it earlier if I knew about skills earlier. I really can't believe that I went through most of this game without unlocking such a pivotal system. I was seriously handicapping myself and playing on hard mode. In good news, I managed to date a cat and even get married to them on the first day of spring. I like that you can pretty much date and marry anyone with a 2D portrait in the colony, so there are a lot of choices. The relationship system is pretty shallow in the sense where you give them a rose to start a relationship, and once their hearts are maxed out, you give them a ring to propose. There are no events that I've seen during the dating period, although that might be due to the fact that I might not have gone to a specific area of the map to trigger those events. The other cats in the colony might comment on your new relationship, and the cat you're dating will have dating specific dialogue. The cat that you marry will move into your den with you, and you can assign them to different beds if you want. I know that you can have kittens in this game, but unfortunately I literally just got married, so that is not happening in time for this review. Now that my cat adventures have come to a close, let's talk about the things I like and the things I wish the game did differently. I really like the colony management system that the game has. You can choose where to settle down and move buildings at a whim. You can recruit more cats to join you and manage the surrounding areas to gather colony resources or defend your territory from voidling cats. Stockpiling resources will allow you to have different effects during the day, so it's worth to ensure that you have some resources available. There's a lot more management in the game than I expected, so I was pleasantly surprised at this. There are a lot of cats and each of them have distinct personalities. I love the 2D portraits of the cats that you can marry and how they fit into the colony. There's also random cats with names but no 2D portraits that will defend your territory, and I also love seeing them out in the world defending and fighting off voidling cats. It just feels like the world is lived in and everyone is working together for the betterment of the colony. The decoration system in the game is absolutely my favorite of any game. I know that I talked about it already, but I want to emphasize emphasize again how much I love it, and I wish that more games would adopt this system. I appreciate that the game kept my interest all year long in game. There was lots to do, from hunting to relationship building, mining, exploring dark temples. I think that shortening the seasons to only 10 days instead of 28 or 30 really helped with this aspect, since I think having the seasons any longer would affect my enjoyment of the gameplay loop. I can hunt for 10 days in a season and be rejuvenated after the season change, but hunting for 30 days before anything happens might make me feel like I'm more in a grind. I really dislike the combat in this game. I think that would change if I was just allowed to turn while I'm charging up. Locking my character in one direction while charging just doesn't feel good for me personally, and my basic scratch is so useless since it does such little damage. The enemy will gain on you quite rapidly since there's no pushback for it like the charged attack. When you're fighting a large group of voidling cats, your best option is to charge so that you can hit everyone and push them back, so you're locking yourself into a move that locks you into one direction. Even after I unlocked skills, it's still not enough to make me come around to the basic attack. I will say that I do appreciate the different skills and utility that you can put your XP into. I just wish that you could turn around while charging on your basic attack, and I was hoping for a skill that might resolve that issue. Unfortunately, there's no skill that does that, so my dislike of combat still stands. I wish that you had the ability to hide your accessories. Some of them have really good uses, such as the miner's helmet to light up a little area around you, which is very useful on mine floors that are super dark, or the greedy paw, which will automatically pick up items that are dropped on the ground. However, for fashion's sake, I really don't want to see my cat wearing some of these items all the time, so I would really appreciate a way to hide the visibility of the accessories when you're equipping it. I'm really not a fan of having to go 25 floors down in the mine before you unlock a checkpoint. This process is already tedious because some of the floors only have one ladder, and that means you might have to break all the rocks before finding it on a very large map. I would much prefer that the checkpoints are more frequent, such as after every 10 levels. Luckily, you do not need to really go into the mines since it's not tied to the main story in any way, so you really don't have to suffer through this unless you really want to. I thoroughly enjoyed Cattails Wildwood's story and also believe that I'm pretty much finished with the game in the sense where I completed the main storyline, got down to the 100th floor in the mines, and even got married. Sure, there are other things to do, such as going deeper into the second mine, building up more relationships with the other cats in the colony, having some kittens, or bringing the entire Wildwood under my influence. However, none of these things are motivating enough on their own for me to continue at this time. I'm in a good place as I put the game down, and I really believe that I got my money's worth for sure. Is Cattails Wildwood story worth $19.99 USD? Well, it might depend on what you want your experience to be. I certainly can recommend it. The game is totally worth it if you can get it discounted. This game might be for you if you're looking for a cat life simulation game in the wild. Ultimately, you're not inhibited in any way by not completing the dark temples or not going into the mines if you don't want to. There are no features that are locked behind these more tedious parts of the game, and you can live the best cat life that you want, doing as you please and just enjoying your time. Well, there you have it. What do you think of Cattails Wildwood's story? Is this game for you? Let me know in the comments whether you're planning to get the game, and of course, if you like what I do and you want to see more, consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. It really helps me out, and hopefully more people will be able to find the reviews that they're looking for. Thank you so much for making it to the end. I'm going back to decorating my den for spring, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.